In this video, we're gonna take care of a more permanent storage solution for the desk setup that I've been designing throughout the last couple of videos.
Wow.
And I already have an idea which I think addresses some of the comments that I got from the last video. Thank you for that, by the way. But I don't have a lot of time for this piece, so we're gonna have to move real quick on this one. That's good. So I have three main needs and wants that I should accommodate with this project. First, I need a place to store the things I don't need access to on a day-to-day basis, but still need to have close by so I don't have to go somewhere else to get them. Things like my drawing tablet, my notebook, camera gear, various cables and cords, you know, things I don't necessarily want to see every day, but still need to use now and then. Second, I want to get the computer off the desk to make more room, but I don't necessarily want to have it sitting on the floor collecting all the nasty floor dust, because if you know anything about computers, you know that they love collecting dust, even though it's bad for their health. Kind of like me with sugar. If you know anything about me, you know that I love eating sugar, even though it's bad for my health. Third, I want this solution to match the aesthetic of the rest of the desk space. I want it to feel homey and nice. I wanted to strike a balance between functionality and beauty. And of course, when it comes to beauty, since Kaisa and I are the ones who are actually going to be looking at this thing every day, it primarily needs to appeal to our standards of beauty in furniture. A couple of days ago, an idea actually started forming in my noggin, so I did what any sane furniture designer would do and attacked? I don't know what the heck I'm saying. I stacked a couple of boxes on a few books, and this is a really quick and dirty way of just getting a representation of an imaginary object in space. And it really helps with not only visualizing, but actually feeling how the volume of an object relates to the space around it. This, in my opinion, is a very important part of furniture design, and it's very easily overlooked. So to all the beginner furniture designers out there,
don't forget to do your mock-ups. You can never go wrong with a mock-up.
So you might be wondering where the actual desk is. It's actually at our exam exhibition that's going on right now, and it's going to be there for about a week, and then when it comes back I have 1 day to film the result of this project before I have to ship it off again to another exhibition, which might be a little bit stressful. And the next exhibition is gonna run throughout the summer. But one thing that's nice about exhibitions is that people actually get to experience your furniture in real life. And especially feedback from people who aren't in the industry, I think is really important to get. All right, let's see what we got here. So this is what we started with. As you can see, the stationary computer is on the desk, which some of you people have already commented on, and I think it's definitely worth considering taking the computer off of the desk. Just have more real estate, you know? So here's what I'm thinking. Some form of drawer storage, which I can put things in, hide things away, because we've already taken care of the temporary storage or the things that I need more often. So we're going from this to this. And I made sure to make it small enough so you could actually have it underneath the desk. If in the future I might just use a laptop instead of a stationary computer. I do think it's really nice to have a big monitor, and I think this is going to be a pretty good addition to the whole desk space area. So I've been playing around with the legs, how thick the legs should be, if they should have like a similar round over to the desk. Trying to figure out like what kind of visual elements I could bring from the desk and the organizer to this drawer thing. This style of handle kind of matches the organizer in a nice way. And I also want the top to match the other tops. Sorry, there's a dog barking outside. It's like a pretty easy way to tie things together, you know? And of course the blue definitely helps to tie everything together as well. So here's where I've landed. I'm actually gonna use square legs because I feel like it matches the aesthetic rather of the actual cabinet or the carcass of the drawers. I feel bad not knowing what the actual thing is called. Should I just call it like a cabinet or something? Is it unprofessional of me not knowing what the actual kind of furniture is called that I'm making? Does it matter? Maybe it does matter. Maybe I'll look it up. So the next thing I want to do is plan how to build this thing because I have a week to build it. So I want to give myself as much time as possible for the paint to dry, which means that I will have to be pretty quick with building. And I might actually ask for help from some of my schoolmates, so stay tuned for that. That's gonna be exciting to watch. Let's just jump to building this goddamn thing. Okay, things are rolling along. We got the top and all of the leg assembly pieces. So now I'm just gonna let these rest for today. And maybe I can start doing the joinery for the actual cabinet. I'm very lucky and thankful to have such good friends who can help me with this project because I really need to get this done pretty quickly. But let's do some joinery then. Things are moving extremely quickly right now. Kaisa is working on the leg assembly, Leonie is working on the drawers, and I'm working on the drawer fronts. It's going a lot quicker than it would have if I was the only one working on this, which is really nice. Let's make some drawer fronts. So when I was making the disc, I used this jig to taper the legs. And I am gonna taper the legs for this cabinet as well, but I'm not gonna do it using the jig. I'm gonna use another method. It's gonna be a lot simpler this time. And less dangerous, hopefully. Look at this. Little dry fit. And it looks really nice. It's actually starting to look like a piece of furniture. And I don't know if you can tell, but that tiny little taper, I think at least, makes a huge difference. So I'm gonna sand these and then I'm gonna glue them together. Actually, I'm gonna glue it up before I sand it because I think it's gonna be a lot easier sanding this when it's assembled instead of these like tiny pieces. So let's glue it up instead. It's a new day here at the workshop, and today we want to get to a point where we can actually paint this whole thing. So we have a few things that we need to do before that. The drawers need to be finished, the drawer rails or whatever you want to call them need to be attached, leg frame needs to be sanded, corners need to be rounded on the top. So there's a few things we need to do before we can paint, but the goal is that we need to be able to paint today. So while Kaisa and Leonie are finishing up the drawers, I'm gonna be sanding the leg frame.
Looks pretty good. So now this is gonna have to dry for probably another day before I do the next coat. Hopefully I won't have to do more than 2 coats, but I have a sneaking suspicion that might actually be the case. But this does look pretty good. Does look pretty good. And it's gonna be really interesting seeing the patina, because like that's one of the things I really like about this paint. It looks just more beautiful as it wears, as opposed to like plastic paint, which really doesn't do anything other than crack. Yeah, so that's going to be really interesting seeing like how, especially the drawer fronts will change over time. I think this is pretty good for now, and I have one more thing to do other than this stuff. I'm going to continue and finish the top. So let's do that now, shall we?
So I've been reading up on this paint again, and it says, or it seems like people are saying that you should be able to paint like flowy. We call it flytigt. I know that I said in my first video when I painted the desk that you can paint very thin, But now when I'm like reading up on things, it seems like you can actually paint a bit thicker than what I've been doing. Also, to get like an even coat, you don't necessarily have to paint with the grain, but you can paint like sort of, I don't know, crisscross. So I think that's what I'm gonna do this time, and hopefully it'll turn out good. And hopefully also I won't have to put another coat on after the second one. Anyway, let's paint and hope for the best.
You get the idea, right?
Wow, what a project. I can't believe how quickly this came together. And it's all thanks to my dear friends Kaisa and Leonie. Without you guys, this wouldn't have happened. So thank you very much. So this was the last piece of this puzzle, and I think we have pretty much everything we need for this setup. For now at least. This whole project has been a blast, and I'm so glad I did it. And now I guess it's time to send it off to the exhibition. I can't actually use this until after the summer. Can you believe it? Alright, do you guys have any ideas for what more I could add to this setup? Or is this enough, do you think? I'm really curious about what you have to say about this. Okay, thanks for watching. Stick around if you want to see what happens next. There she goes. I wish you the best.